Hi there. Today we are making baba Ghanoush, which is in the regular rotation here at the Bailey household. Everybody loves it. Like seriously, I have yet to meet a person who does not like baba Ghanoush. And that's funny because many people say that they don't like eggplant. And I suspect people don't like eggplant because of A, the texture. It can be mushy quite often. And B, because the way it's sometimes cooked, I'm thinking eggplant parmesan, sometimes the skin is like tough and then the inside's mushy, and that's not exactly pleasant. But eggplant doesn't have a super strong flavor, so that's why I'm guessing that the objection is not to the flavor of eggplant, but to the texture. So have we got a recipe for you? Because
So Laurel, what is baba Ghanoush?
yes, this is where.
What is baba?
Nice, Rob. Thank you for that segue. So baba Ghanoush is a blended eggplant dip, and it's there are various all through the Mediterranean, Southern Europe, and the Middle East. There are variations on this, and sometimes they're called salads, like melitsana in Greece, which is not so much a blended thing, but still roasted. So different places, they have different takes on it. But baba Ghanoush is kind of like hummus, very similar to hummus, but made with eggplants instead of being made with chickpeas. Yeah.
I know.
So what we're going to start with is a technique that is very similar. If you watched our video on roasting red peppers, this is very similar, but we're going to do it with this lovely eggplant. Now this is what's called an Italian eggplant, and it's shaped vaguely egg-like, hence the name in the UK and other parts of Europe, actually France obviously, but I'm not sure if everywhere else in Europe. Aubergine. And there are also, though, tiny little round ones that are an Asian eggplant. There are also long, skinny ones, often called Japanese eggplants. The kind you want for this, you can make this with the other kind, but your measurements are going to be off, your ratio. So try and find yourself just a regular old Italian eggplant. When you're buying an eggplant, look for one that doesn't have soft spots. So it should be nice and firm all the way around, and it might have some little nicks or discoloration, but they shouldn't be squishy. If they're squishy, find another one, okay?
There you go.
So what we're gonna start with is, so we're roasting this, and like I said with the roasted red peppers, you can do this on the barbecue, and quite often we do. If you have a gas stove, you can do this directly on the element and just turn this around. What we're looking for is a charred skin with a cooked interior. So you want the outside to be completely like black.
So you're trying to ruin it, basically. Is what
It looks that way, but that's not what happens. It turns into the most delicious dip ever. Okay, I'm gonna take a fork and I'm just gonna poke a few holes there in the eggplant. All that's doing.
That's very satisfying, isn't it?
Anyway, this is
psycho.
that's just so the darn thing doesn't explode when the insides get really, really hot.
I think
And this,
one more should do it.
oh,
There you go.
happy?
Perfect, yeah.
Okay. Now we're going to put this in the oven and on broil, as I said. Now I'm not putting it right up at the top because if you can see, it would touch the broiler there, and we don't want it actually to touch the element. So I'm putting it right below that. And then I'm gonna keep an eagle eye on that as well as smell. Like I often say in these videos, a lot of my cooking I do through smell and also what things sound like. It's not just visual. So I'm gonna keep smell for the smell of burning
You're gonna
things.
keep smell.
I'm gonna pay attention to the smell of burning things. We do want it to have a bit of that burn smell.
Yes.
But you don't want to totally destroy your eggplant. If you just left it in there like this for half an hour and didn't move it at all, you'd just ruin it. So what you've got to do is you want one side, the side closest to the broiler, to get black, and then we're going to go in with tongs or whatever, give it a turn, get the next side black until the whole outside is black, and we will come back once we've done that because you don't need to see it.
Yay.
So it's been about 40 minutes, give or take. It might be different in your oven, or if you're doing it on the barbecue, that's quite often, I think, quicker. Same if you're doing it on the stove. But in our broiler, in the oven, it was about 40 minutes. And look at this. Is this still too hot? It's a little hot.
No, you've killed
See,
it.
it looks pretty horrible, right? Look at how charred that is.
Oh, it's completely dead.
And you can see how squish, squish, soft it is. So all I'm going to do is put it in a bowl, and I don't know if there's enough juice there for me to bother with, but if there is, put it in the bowl too. Get it all in the bowl. And what we're going to do here is just let that rest until it's cool enough to handle. So obviously you don't need to see that. When it's cool enough to handle, we will come back, mere seconds for you, and we'll show you how you scrape it out and move on to the next step. So we're back, and the eggplant is now cool enough to handle. So I'm just, you see how shriveled and weird it looks? Look at all those yummy, yummy juices. I'm going to cut the top off as close to the green bits so that we don't lose any of the yummy goodness. And then I'm going to slice down the center. And from that point, so we're going to keep those juices in there.
And use a spoon. Yeah, there is a spoon.
And I'm going to just scrape all the yummy goodness out of the eggplant.
So you don't want the black skin itself, but
yes, we're scraping
everything but
off. So if you can find brown bits like that,
that's gold.
That's where the good flavor is.
Do you use a knife to scrape that off the skin, or?
As you can see, I'm using a spoon.
That's right. I was wondering if a knife might be more efficient.
I don't think so. Am I being inefficient? It doesn't.
Well,
look
it's
to me
not for
like
me to
I'm-
say, but you know,
No,
generally.
I don't think I'm being inefficient, Mr. Bailey. So just scraping all of that.
Shall we come back when you're done, or?
Yeah, you know what? People don't need to see me do the whole thing, but as you can see, it does go fairly quickly. I'm already almost halfway through. So we'll come back and we'll show you when it's all scraped. So we've scraped all of the eggplant yumminess there. You can see there are dark bits. Might even be some teeny tiny pieces of skin.
That's okay.
You know,
Most of the skin
most of the
is
skin
here.
is over there, but a little bit is not going to be the end of the world, so don't worry too much about it. We're going to pop that directly into the food processor. You may be able to use a stick blender here if you don't have a food processor, an immersion blender. I'm not 100% sure. Make sure the juices get in there. And I'm going to start by just doing that by itself.
That's good.
There you have pureed roasted eggplant. Pure yumminess. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the other ingredients, everything except for the olive oil, which we're saving for the very end. So we were just talking about this off camera, and this looks like too much garlic to me. It was 2 cloves, but they were 2 jumbo cloves. So when you see something that says 2 cloves of garlic, usually that means 2 regular sized. So I'm actually or maybe it's 3 if you have small cloves, right? So I'm going to do about half of that because my gut is telling me.
You can always add more later. Right?
Yeah, and I love garlic, so it's not like I'm being cheap with garlic or whatever, right? I just
Too
think
much.
that
Too much
that's
can make
too
it
much.
hot, right?
Yes, garlic can be this kind of spicy, hot thing that can be overpowering and you can't taste the other flavors.
What else you got there?
So we have tahini, and refer to the hummus recipe if you want to know all about good tahini versus some of the health food store tahini that I do not generally recommend.
You mean the devoid of any flavor whatsoever?
Well, it's usually rancid, it's been sitting in there too long, it's sold in tiny jars, and it's usually like the peanut butter where you've got this rock hard stuff on the bottom and oil sitting at the top, and you have a hell of a time mixing it.
Darn hippies.
In my experience, Lebanese tahini is the way to go. So, hey, that's me. We've got some lemon juice here. And that's about 1 lemon's worth of lemon juice. It's about 2 tablespoons. So this is white pepper. Do you have to go out and buy white pepper if you don't have any? Absolutely not. You can use black pepper here. But we always have white pepper. It's often called for in Chinese recipes. So we always have some ground white pepper around. So that's going in there. This is another sort of optional item. That is smoked paprika, not the spicy one, the sweet one. And it helps encourage the smoky flavor that the charred part of the eggplant gives.
Imparts.
That's the word I was looking for. And that's kosher salt. Okay, so those are all of those ingredients, and we're going to whip that.
Whip it good.
Get out of my brain.
I was going to say there's a lot of room there, but okay, I'll make up the couch now.
So I'm just scraping things down here to incorporate it all. And we're getting close to like the final thing, because really it's just a pureed dish, right? Puree.
Voila.
It's not beautiful. It's going to
It's
taste
beautiful.
amazing.
Don't think it's not.
So and I can smell the smokiness from the char there, from the skin. I'm gonna turn this on and I'm gonna drizzle the olive oil in. Thank you. I was aware that was there.
Okay, I was just, could have been catastrophic. If
I
you
guess
hadn't
it could have
noticed
been, but I know it was there.
That's
'cause
my
I put it
parenting skills here.
there. I am not your child.
I know.
Anyway, whole separate conversation. We're not having that right now. I am going to turn this on, and while it's doing the mixing thing, I'm going to drizzle the olive oil in. As soon as it's incorporated, we're turning it off. Why? Why would you not continue to beat it? Because olive oil can go bitter the more that you use mechanical devices to whip up your olive oil. If you've ever made a pesto and you wondered why it was bitter, it was because your olive oil got
beat up too badly.
yeah, it's something changes the molecules or something, and it gets really bitter. So in we go.
Oh, now comes the taste test. Oh,
Look at that. She's a beauty, eh?
geez, eh? Yeah, I should take off. Oh, that's nice, eh?
So it looks like hummus. It has certainly some of the same ingredients, so there's a similar flavor, except if your hummus had a real smoky thing going on. And of course, this is made with vegetable instead of, well, legumes or vegetables, but that's a separate thing. So, but made with eggplant instead of with legumes. There you have baba ganoush. How do we serve it? We would put it in a dish, and you can either drizzle a little olive oil over the top, much like hummus. You could sprinkle some za'atar on there. You could serve it with little lemon wedges to squeeze over the top if you like. It's great for dipping vegetables in. It's great for dipping chicken. When we have chicken skewers, sometimes we have this on the side, and that's really yummy, and the roasted vegetables from those skewers.
Flatbread?
Flatbreads are the easiest and the most typical. And then pita wedges, blah, 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 blah. It makes a great substitute for something like mayo on a sandwich, and it's vegan, so...
You can use it for anything.
Yeah, I mean, you could eat it by the spoon if you wanted to, but...
How is it? Have you tasted it?
I haven't, but hey, I can. Seriously, it's smoky and garlicky and lemony, and it's all the yummy, yummy, yummy things. So go make yourself some baba ganoush.